Welcome to day 1 of the Initiate program. This will be a total body workout, and all you need is a set of light and slightly heavier dumbbells. Grab a mat and come join me. Hi, my name is Lauren Irk. I'd like to welcome you to Fitness Integrated Science TV. Today is day 1 of the Initiate program. And what are we trying to initiate? Number 1, you may be initiating exercise into your body after a long time not using your body and trying to put on muscle. Number 2, you may be initiating, how do I add load to my body safely without getting hurt? And number 3, maybe you've been training for a while, but you're looking for some tips and cues, slowing it down. Maybe you're having some aches and pains while you're training and you're looking for instruction. Either way, my goal is to provide all of those things for you. Today we're focusing on a full body workout, but we're obviously going to be doing a total of 6 workouts through this program. Each workout is going to be a little bit different, and there's a certain amount of progression. By workout 6, we're actually going to be introducing some challenge. But we're focusing all of this based on the 5-step or 5-stage principles of FIS-TV, which is starting with isolation work, isometrics, then moving into integrated isometrics, moving into body weight motions, body weight training, moving into adding load, and finally all kinds of challenges such as instability, endurance, and speed. Throughout this series, feel free to drop the weight, take a break, turn off the video, start it back again. This is, if you're a beginner, this is something that you want to milk over time. Remember, you have the rest of your life to do this, and the goal is whatever you do, show up and be consistent. So today I'm going to be using a set of light dumbbells as well as heavier dumbbells. You can choose whatever scale that you want. I've got a set of 8s and 15s here, but I don't want you to worry about what I'm using. Focus in on what you want to use. And like I said, certainly there's times that you may want to completely eliminate what you're using entirely and go with body weight training. Totally fine. So as we start, I want you to begin by coming down onto your back. So as you roll yourself down to the floor, I want you to bring your shoulders into the mat and then just bend your knees. We start by just drawing one knee into the chest. And as you do that, we're just going to bring our hands right up on top so that we push our leg back into our hands. So you're immediately feeling those hip flexor muscles. I want you to breathe evenly and then exhale, come right back down. Let's do the same thing on the other side. As we come back in, when I'm finishing the leg moving, then I place my hands on top, moving the leg back into the hands. Hold it here, breathing gently. And then exhale, take that down. Now, as we change sides, let's draw that leg in again. You may notice that you have more range, but again, no cramping or shaking. We're trying to focus our energies on those hip flexor muscles. Good. And then exhale back down. This also is great for if you're ever having any back issues. This is an awesome way to reduce or eliminate, really, back pain. Hold and breathe gently. Now, this time when you lower it, I'm going to take this leg and I'm just going to straighten it out completely on my mat. Now, so let's just see how that feels. Press your leg down and notice that you have a harder time maybe bringing this other leg up. So now we've introduced a little bit of extension on this hip as well as flexion on this hip. If it's too much, you can always still keep that back knee bent. Hold and breathe. Exhale and down. Let's change sides, drawing that other leg in. We're just very lightly coming in. And hopefully you're getting some awesome information about your body going through this. Good. Exhale down. Last 2. Bringing that back in easy. No cramping, no shaking, no quivering. And I'm feeling my abdominals a little bit. Let's do that one more time, breathing gently. Now take your hands behind your knee and then draw yourself all the way up into sitting. So I want you to sweep your legs around now. We come into all fours, spread the fingers and toes, and now come into a hovering position if possible. So my knees are just slightly off the ground. Spread your fingers, put all that pressure across the wrist bones. Then I want you to walk your hands up to your feet, take your hands to your legs, and then take yourself into standing. Now, as we went from our isolation work, our next step is to go into more of an integrated fashion. So now we have gravity to work with. So let's just start by picking up one leg and holding it, and then back down. And let's just do the same thing on the other side. Squeeze up and hold it. Now let's just say that balance right now is an issue. Then what you're going to do is grab a wall so that way when you're here, you can focus on the isometric without having to worry about falling, right? And then exhale back down. Let's do that again, picking that up. So again, I'm focusing here on those hip flexor muscles. And then also the standing leg, I'm working on those glutes. We're going to be needing those both throughout this routine today, trust me. Squeezing that in, easy. Good, and back down, and let's do that again. Now, all I'm going to do is we move into these, what I would call integrated isometrics. I'm going to add a little bit more tension by putting one hand on that knee, and then back down, do the same thing on the other side. Push up into the hand, and back down. Push up into the hand, hold, and back down, and then up into the hand, hold. Now, as we're ready to finish with this, I want you to now start moving through space. So we just start moving a little bit quicker, and you can feel that your heart rate is coming up a little bit. We're warming up the body, and we're ready to go into our first exercise, which is going to be the squat. I want you to just walk it out a little bit. Notice how your feet land. Some people's feet are pointing straight ahead. More than likely, some people's are turned out. It really is going to depend on your hips. Look where your knees are pointing. That's where your feet should be pointing. So let's just begin with a body weight squat. I want you to sit down as though you're sitting in a chair. Now, because of my lever lengths, I'm going to lean forward more. Some of you may be able to be more upright more. I like to really focus on sticking my hips out and back. Then as I come up, I'm just going to tighten up into those quadriceps. Let's just take a couple of times as we go down into that squat, and then we squeeze and we tighten the quads. Remember that you're going to protect your knees, your ankles, and your hips more when you engage the muscles around them. It's a really important principle. A lot of the times when something hurts, we want to back away from it. We don't want to do it. When in reality, the better your muscles can contract, the better the exercise will feel in your body. Squeezing down and pressing that all the way back up. So let's go for 3 more down and squeeze in. Good, and 2, bringing it down and back in. One more time, taking it down. Now let's from here come into standing and then bring your arms to this position. I want you to reach your arms over your head, so that shoulder flexion, and then bring that all the way down. So we're still working with body weight training, and I want you to notice when you're in this position, how does your posture feel? Do you feel upright? Do you feel rounded? In order to get your arms over your head, you have to lift your chest. So let's do 2 more, and now we want to put this together with our squat. So on your exhale breath, let's just lower the hips down. As we come up, push through the legs and then continue to push through the upper body. Now for some people, you might already be feeling like, man, this is a lot. I have a lot of body parts working at one time. If that's the case, this is where you're going to stay. Exhale. You can always come back later, right? Let's go a couple more times, reaching, and just notice, think about how your legs are actually helping your upper body work, which is kind of a cool thing. 1 more. Good. All right, and release that down. Take your hands into your legs and then push yourself up. Now, I'm going to try going right into adding load. So if you want to, you could start with something a little bit lighter intentionally as you're starting to introduce some resistance into your body. The moment your skin touches this, everything in your body has to work to respond to it. So let's just start with a squat only. Take your arms by your side, make it easy, okay? Lining up your feet with your knees, inhale breath, chest lifted. So imagine again that we're sitting in a chair. Did you notice that when you added weight to this exercise, that how you distributed your body parts, where your upper body went, where your lower body went, it might have changed a little bit. Maybe you noticed you didn't go down as far as you did when you were moving into that body weight work. Totally normal. Have you ever noticed that people that do a lot of yoga that seem to be very, very flexible? We have a lot of yoga on this TV channel here. They a lot of times can go super far into things because they're not adding a lot of load, right? They're actually trying to work on range of motion. Load changes things. All right, let's do 1 more time and release it. Bend your elbows now, lifting up through your chest. Sternum is high. All right, so now on your inhalation breath, Let's just start by just moving a little bit. Get your shoulders used to elevating, meaning they're raising up into your ears. Try to keep your weight over your elbows. Let's just pay attention to that. So in other words, the tendency is to do this, right? Right, I'm exaggerating, but I want you to really keep the weights moving away from you. Now, as you get better, let's see if we can go a little bit higher now. And you can feel that our requirements from our trunk and spine has gotten bigger. And as you're doing it, you can work on that full overhead press. Great job. Let's just do 3 more of these. Now, we definitely want to introduce sets and reps. I don't want to continue moving and moving and moving. Let's give our body a little bit of a break, and then exhale, let's release that out. So go ahead and drop that out. Take a little break. We'll say anywhere from 15 to 30 seconds. And just notice how that took shape in your body. Do you feel even taller? How do your legs feel here? Now the goal here on our second set is that we want to try to put these motions together, allowing the squat and the arms to work simultaneously. So let's go ahead, bend down, take the weights close to your feet, and then pick them up. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and move into this position. This is a lot of times called a front squat, and you'll see me do this quite a bit on the channel. Notice that when your weights are here, you sit back a little bit more. That's kind of a cool thing. All right, so let's go ahead and shift back into our hips. Then when you stand, watch what I'm going to do. I'm going to follow through. My elbows move directly up to the ceiling, and I'm lifting up to the chest, and I'm right back into the start. Once I'm here, I'm squatting it down. Then I'm pushing it all the way through, squatting it down. Now let's just say that adding this overhead press makes the squats way too challenging. Leave it out, right? Stick with the front squat. Leave your dumbbells directly out in front of your chest. Now typically for hypertrophy training, we want to do anywhere from 8 to 12 reps, so that when we're finished with those reps, we're somewhat tired. In other words, we probably couldn't execute another really good formed rep. Great job. And you should be getting that heart rate up just a little bit. Let's do 1 more. And squat while you're down there, put down the weights and relax. All right, so let's just roll those shoulders around a little bit, easy. All right. And we have 1 more set left. All right. And part of what we do when we think of hypertrophy training, sets and reps, doing lots and lots of reps, that's what helps your muscles to grow. Your muscles need a reason to grow. So let's go ahead and come back down here again. Or if you like, you can try this set with no weight. Flexing into your elbows, take that nice big breath. This is essentially our 3rd set of squats. Getting your alignment correct, lift your sternum, exhale, sitting down. Then I'm going right into it, overhead press. Squatting it down, and then we press over the head. So this is enabling our spinal extensors, right? Our scapular elevators like the upper trapezius, the serratus anterior. It's also working our glutes, our hamstrings. So there's a lot of muscles that are being utilized right now. Now your depth in your squat is definitely going to change depending on your ability today. If you can squat deeper, you're going to get more muscular engagement because I'm shortening across the hip, ankle, and knee more. But it's completely up to you. Let's go 3 more. Press it up. 2. Squeeze up. Tighten those quadriceps. Don't forget those little things. And while we're down there, let's go ahead and drop that out. Okay. So now as we come back up, again, heart rate may be a little elevated. We're going to slow it down a little bit. Bring your feet about hip width apart, and let's just step one of the legs back. Notice what I'm doing. I'm up on my toe. So if that feels really like, ooh, I don't know if I want to step that far away, start here with my feet closer together. Otherwise, I'm here. And I'm just going to hold what I would like to call an integrated isometric. So now I'm squeezing that glute, and I'm lowering down that front leg. Let's just hold it here for 5, 6, 7, 8, and then press that all the way up. Come to the center and then just pivot around to the other side. Or if you like, you could just switch your feet. So again, I'm squeezing that back glute, and then I'm holding this here. Breathing for 4. exhale, 3. Think of pushing your legs together. 2, 1, and then finally we come right back up to the top and we come back to the center. Now if you don't want to keep twitching like this, just step 1 foot back and change. Otherwise, here I am. Now I'm going to go back down. I'm squaring my hips to the front and I'm dropped down into my integrated isometric. My back heel is pointing up perpendicularly from the floor. My forward knee can go over the ankle just a little bit. That whole knee over toe thing is more about alignment from the hip to the knee versus where the knee is falling over the foot. So now push your legs together. Can we come up out of this position and then lower back down into it? Now a couple of things. I could come up and drop that heel down every time, right? Or I could keep the heel up, which is typically what I like to do. But I want you to find your perfect way to do this. Down and squeeze. Body weight training. So why do we need to add load if this is still a challenge, right? If you're feeling like, whoa, I'm trying to wobble back and forth, here's what I can do. I can actually take a wall here and just lower it down and back up. You see how much easier that is when I have something to hold on to. Let's go 4. And 3, 2 more times, and 1. Okay, go ahead and release that out. I'm gonna pivot around again. Feel free to switch your legs. So let's say I still want to hold on to a chair or a wall. Make sure your forward foot is in line with your hip. We come all the way down towards the mat. Okay, so we're squeezing into that back glute. We press up and tighten into that quadricep. Then we slowly lower it down. So remember, the lower you sit, the harder this exercise becomes. Down and squeeze up. Down, squeeze up. Notice that I'm taking my time. I'm actually experiencing the bottom of the exercise. And when I get to the top of the exercise, I'm taking that extra few seconds to squeeze my muscles. 1 more. All right, that was a lot of reps. Let's go ahead and step those feet together and shake that out. Now, because I'm going to be going a little bit heavier and I'm actually got to have a wall I'm using here to keep my stability, I'm going to go ahead and go with a heavier dumbbell than what we started with in the squats. Completely up to you, however. So let's just start off, place one hand on the wall. I'm just going to step my one leg straight back. Okay, my heel is perpendicular. Then from there, I could either hold my weight here, or I'm just going to hold it right down by my side. Now when I lunge, it definitely feels different on my second set here. And when I lower this down, I can absolutely feel that my body is dealing with some asymmetrical load. I'm getting pulled on one side. So I've got my one hand on the wall or a chair, and then my body is being pulled away from it. So the muscles on the waistline that's facing the wall, they're keeping me from dropping towards the weight. At the top, I want you to squeeze that glute. So it's down and slow. I'm going to slow this down even more now. Down, and let's only come up halfway up. Down. So we have a little bit less distance to travel, but in the end, what happens is we feel a little bit more stable, right? Let's go 2 more. And now let's just hold it here, easy. And then I want you to just step that back leg in. I'm going to change arms. If you want, just step the other leg back, but just to show you on camera, I'm going to go ahead and switch sides. Okay, so I'm starting at the top. I have my nice strong stance. My back glutes are strong. Take an exhale breath, and then we lower this down and press in. Taking it down, squeeze in, lower. Try to keep that forward knee in alignment with your foot. Great work. Now, working with your legs right off the bat like this, what this does is it really starts to generate that growth hormone. All the muscle, the endorphins as well, they're really kicking. You should be feeling really good right now. So let's go down to the bottom and hold it there, and then bring it back up. My weight is evenly distributed between my forward foot and my back foot. In other words, I'm not leaning into my forward leg, nor am I leaning into my back leg. Even though my back toe is on the ground, I'm still feeling that heel being perpendicular to it. Let's go 2 more. And one more. Great. Now let's just stay at the bottom and balance for 5, 6, 7, 8, and press up. Release that out. Very nice. All right. So let's go ahead now, drop that out, noticing how you're feeling. Let's come back onto our yoga mat. Take a deep breath in, flex forward, and take your hands to the mat. Now let's come into all fours here for just a moment. I want you to spread your fingers wide apart and turn them in just slightly. Begin by pushing your hands together like you're trying to wrinkle your mat. So you're like, wow, we're bringing in our chest muscles. Exactly. We're bringing in our chest muscles. Hold that there for just a moment. And then release it. Let's do that one more time. Push in and hold it, working into the chest. And release it. So now as we flip it around, I want you to come down onto your back. And we want to use some dumbbells, so make sure you have your weights close by. Bring your arms directly over your head. From here, we just want to bend the elbows to 90 degrees, noticing where you want to put them on the floor. Then on your inhale, we're just going to push up, and as you push up, go ahead and push those hands together. So it's out to the sides, and then push up. So how do you know where to go out to the sides? Just notice where your elbow hits in line with your shoulders. If you don't have the ability to bring them exactly side by side, it's okay. Let's do it one more time. Squeeze together and release it. So I'm just going to take my dumbbells now, stacking those dumbbells directly over the top of the shoulders. All right, so we bring in our dumbbell chest press. Walk your shoulder blades underneath you and really focus on almost sticking your chest out. So as we squeeze our shoulder blades together, that's going to remain consistent. On your inhale, your weights are traveling with you so that your elbows are directly underneath. Then as you come back in, I want you to focus on drawing your elbows towards the midline. Bringing it out to the sides easy, and then squeezing it towards the midline. Watch that your weight, your dumbbell, is not traveling forward or backwards. You want to make sure that your dumbbell is staying in line with where your wrist is. Always, always, always. Squeezing and holding, and then bringing that right back down. So as you're doing this, you almost want to feel like your chest was just puffed out, right? And as you're pulling into the midline, concentrate on where your chest muscles are, right? They're directly in the center of your chest. So can you focus on engaging those every time your weight comes back up? Squeezing in and up to hold, and back down. Let's go for 3. Beautiful. 2. And one more time. Now, I'm not a big fan of, whenever I exercise, go ahead and release this down, and let's take our weights. I'm not a big fan of just hanging out in between sets, although I have before. I like to kind of keep it moving by doing alternative things. So let's go ahead and press our lower back into the ground, pick up one leg, and then pick up the other leg. Now, the weight of your legs is significant. Feel how much stress this is placing on your core, your abdomen. Can you hold this here without your lower back keeping your lower back from coming off the floor? It's a better way to say that. So we're taking the floating ribs, drawing them down. That's called spinal flexion. And you should feel your abs kicking in. So let's just hold this for a moment, breathing. So we're peppering in that isometric hold with multiple joints. Great way to exercise. And then as we exhale, we lower that right back down. Let's try that one more time. Inhale, squeezing and holding. Static, hold. Lower back on the ground. And release it. So let's pick up our dumbbells. We want to never take more than 30 seconds or so, 30 seconds to maybe a minute if you're working really hard, before you're resting these muscles. So let's put them back under tension again. Walk your shoulders underneath you, weights directly over the elbows. So think about making a circle as you bring your weights and elbows out to the sides, and then squeeze those elbows towards the midline as you come up. So it's outward and down, and then we squeeze in and up. Out and down, squeeze in and up and tighten it. Nice. Out and down, in and up and tighten. Remember, we're kind of pushing that chest out. That's going to exaggerate those pectoral muscles. Also, you're feeling the front deltoids, front of the shoulder as well. All that's normal. Let's go for 5. 6. Keep pushing your shoulder down. Imagine that you're holding a number 2 pencil right here in your armpit and you can't let it go. In other words, I don't want your shoulder blades to roll off of your back. Keep them on the floor. Last 2, pushing it in. Great job. And one more time. Now really smash those weights together for 5, 6, 7. Now hover it right above the ground for 5, 6, 7, 8, and drop it. So let's go ahead and take those weights to the ground. This time, take your hands behind your head, and let's go back into our tabletop exercise. Hold it, breathe. For 4, a little bit more integrated here, and then bring that down. Inhale. Again, exhale. Lower back on the ground. Hold it for 4, 3, 2, 1, and back down. Inhale. Again, one more time. Exhale, lower back on the floor, knees stacking directly over the hips for 4, 3, 2, 1, and release it. Last set on our chest press now. I want to hold that dumbbell, and we're starting to feel a little bit of muscle fatigue. That's exactly where we want to be. So on your exhale breath, traveling away. This time I want you to push those weights together. Take it down. Squeeze together. One more time, and now let's try more of an alternating, taking it right. Does that feel different to you? Absolutely. Now we get to really notice if we're able to stabilize through the trunk and spine. Squeezing it in, bringing it out. Notice how I'm slowing this down. I'm really focused on where's my weight in space? How is my chest associated with that? It doesn't matter what the weight is doing. What matters is the muscle group we're trying to squeeze right at the chest. 2 more. And 1 more. Now let's take both of our weights up, smash them together, and then go right into that tabletop. How does that feel? If it's too much, please feel free to lower that down. Now keep that tabletop. I want you to hover your dumbbells right above the floor. Pulse for 5, 6, 7, 8, go all the way up, hold it, exhale, lower the feet, and now as we drop the weights, a little trick, you may notice that that pulls you right off the floor, and we finish with our last exercise, which is actually going to be a rowing exercise. So I want you to sweep your legs around, and I'm actually going to do this from a kneeling position first, so I'm taking one foot on the ground. Now you can do this entire thing on your knee. However, I'm guessing that there's probably somebody out there that needs to do something off the ground, so I'm going to show both. I've decided I'm going to go just a little bit heavier on the row. I'm actually going to bring myself into more of a lunging position. So you notice how I'm leaning over that leg either with the elbow or with the hand, and I don't have to bring my feet super close together, but I want to make sure that my rear shoulder muscles are facing the ceiling. So let's first, just like we did with our chest exercise, we want to set the shoulder blade, really important. Hold that there for a minute. How do you feel? Now, let's just bend our elbow. Notice how my hand is right below it, and I'm really squeezing right there, but watch what I'm going to do. I'm going to keep it there as I straighten my arm. In other words, I'm not letting that roll off. Hold it on your back. So it's a 1-arm row, and then back down. Now, I've got my hand on this other leg, so that I can actually balance. If you want to do it on the ground, it would look something like this. It's just a matter of whether or not you have the lever lengths, adequate lever length, so the weight doesn't hit the floor every time. And also, can you lean over this far? And also, can you put pressure on your knee? So you have those options. You could also put your hand on a weight bench or a chair if that was more comfortable. Really focus on squeezing that weight at the top. I'm keeping my elbow close to my body. I'm trying to focus on my lats, bigger muscles in my back here. Woo! Let's go for 5, 6, 7, and 8. So I want you to sit that weight down, step your feet together, pick it back up, and then change arms. Okay. So you're on the ground, you're just going to switch knees. I'm going to show this again from a standing position. So I'm staggering my feet, then I've got to get my rear shoulder muscles to face the ceiling. So here I am, looking forward. Pull your shoulder blade onto your back, really important. How does that feel on this side? Can you hold it still? Now as you inhale, we travel through. One of the biggest mistakes that people make, it's not a mistake, it's just how your body makes things easier. It always knows how to do that. Is that they let their hand travel towards their elbow And so what happens is I'm not loading the shoulder as much. Either way, draw a straight line down from that dumbbell. Can you see how it's further away? Here's my shoulder. Look how far away the weight is now. Versus here, my weight is right underneath. So let's try to let that weight travel right back. Very important principle to get down. Squeeze and hold it. At that top of that motion, can you feel your shoulder blade on your back and the rear deltoids, the rear shoulder muscles working to contract? Squeeze in and back down. Squeeze in and back down. 3, 2, and I'm just kind of looking at my timer. One more time. Hold it. Now go ahead and move that weight down to the floor and then step it up. We'll do one last set since we've just did actually 2. Taking your hands on or shoulders on your back first, hands on your hips. I want you to squeeze your glutes and then just start by lifting your chest. And this looks like a nothing exercise, but it's so important just to practice leaning back, right? My chin is tucked, my chest is lifted. I'm raising up through my chest and sternum, trying not to put all my pressure here, and release it. Let's do that one more time. Inhale, lean the upper body back, holding, and release it. All right, so let's go back into our second set. Pick up the dumbbell. I'm going back over here. All right, so again, I've got to come down to where my shoulder is facing the ceiling. If I'm up here, my shoulder is not opposing gravity or the dumbbell anymore. So it's very important that I get down there. Use a chair if you need to. Once again, where do I stabilize? Shoulder on the back. Then I go right into that motion and straight back down. We're squeezing it in, nice and strong. Squeezing it in, hold. Remember, your weight is almost drifting away from you, right? It's going back to the back wall and then back under the shoulder. That's kind of what's happening here. Squeeze and back in. Squeeze, hold, and back in, nice and strong. Really feel that shoulder blade coming into your back. I'm actually even feeling my lats as they wrap around my rib cage. Let's do one more. That'll make 10 reps. And let's step it up. All right. Feel free to take a longer rest if you need to. Otherwise, we're going right into the second side. So I start here. What's really great is if you can pull your shoulder on your back here when there's no resistance. Now when you come forward, can you keep it from rolling forward? You are going to feel some lower back here. One of the great benefits of exercising with dumbbells like this is that your dumbbell, even though it has a relationship with your shoulder right now, it has a relationship to every part of your body. And the things that are not moving in an exercise are sometimes working harder or just as hard as the thing that is moving, right? So your lower back is absolutely moving in through this exercise. We're halfway home already. Good, so I'm squeezing it, hold, and back in. Notice if your body is rocking from side to side. Take your time. If you have to rock yourself to get from point A to point B, you're using too much weight, right? Or you're not working on control enough. Let's go one more time, hold it, and release it. All right, so now, let's just take both of our shoulders, roll them off the back. Then release those hands. Now notice if we really concentrate on lifting through the sternum, remember at the beginning of this workout, how does it feel now to bring your arms over your head? Can you look up, exhale, and bring that down? So let's go ahead and come down into that squat, round the back, tighten those abs, flatten the back, look forward. Then from here, let's come back in the center. Push your shoulders off of your back. Then as you separate them, move them down and into your back. Lift your sternum. Lean back if you like. And then exhale. Last time, coming back down. Round your back. Flatten your back. Look forward. Now coming back up, let's roll the shoulders off the back. Separate the hands. Lift the shoulders. Look up. Exhale, arms out to the sides, and release it. So let's take a nice big breath, right shoulder coming up, and then back down. Same thing on the left, and back down. Roll your shoulders around a little bit. Feel free to move around like you did at the beginning. And what you should feel like after day 1, you should feel energized. You should feel excited for day 2, which is coming up, depending on how you're going to get through the series. you should feel less pain, less discomfort than when you started. If one of those things didn't happen, you really need to scale back a little bit, do a little less of a position, maybe even less load or no load. Work on body weight for a while. There's all the time in the world to add load, but remember, the most important thing is to stay consistent. So thank you for watching, and I will see you for the next video, which will be day 2, another full body workout. Thanks.